there. Welcome to Goddess of Many Faces YouTube page. And right now, it is Saturday, September 14th, 2024. And I have me a nice lemonade drink that I'm going to be drinking as I do this live. And it's going to be pretty much random in a sense. I have not been live on this page in about 2 weeks. Life is happening and it's always happening. That's the only thing that, I have to say. But definitely my dreams have been vivid, very vivid. Um, but I have not had like any reoccurring dreams, like, so that's a good thing, like, because I just feel like the reoccurring dreams is like something that you have to focus on because it's like you're receiving messages, well, the same message over and over again, and it's just like your subconscious mind is trying to communicate with you in a sense. And you know, if you guys been listening to my page, YouTube page, because I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and I have an Instagram page that's associated to um, this particular username that I go under. Um, but if you listen to past videos, lives, or whatever, you seen that I discussed me having like a reoccurring dream. And once a big secret was revealed, you know, I kind of like stopped having those dreams. So um, it's interesting to know, like, uh, well, from my discovering, what I realized is that, like, the reoccurring dreams is like it could be like a message that your subconscious mind or just trying to get through to you, or it doesn't even have to be a subconscious mind. It could just be listen, like like you receiving a message, like, all right, this is what it is. But if you don't understand your dreams or you're not paying attention to it, how you gonna know? How would you know? You wouldn't know. Um, but I haven't been having reoccurring dreams, but I've been having very vivid dreams. I would say like one of my dreams, I was having like a lucid dream, and in the lucid dream, I was in a familiar place. I was like in my old bedroom, and once I had that awakening, because it was like this man and this woman that was in the room with me or whatever. But that wasn't. It wasn't like uh it was like set up different. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely a different um it was just a different dream that I have never had before. So I was in my room, and it was like this couple that was in there. And the couple, you could tell the couple was kind of like popular or something, or like they was kind of um like had associations with like the sports world, like football. They was like one of those kind of like couples, probably like the couple that was kind of like popular in high school, you know, prom king and queen, you know, um, the sports world, like that couple with like that type of vibe they was giving off of, right? And so when I was on my bed, I'm like, um, I had this realization. I'm like, oh shit, this is a dream. I'm dreaming. I'm you know, this is the dream world right now. I'm like, I got so excited because it's just like I ain't even going front. Like when I was younger, lucidity, like the lucid dreams used to be a lot of. It used to be frequent, right? I don't know what I was doing to have that occurrence, right, prior to going to sleep, but it was happening. I was having that occurrence, but now it's like it sporadically happens, and even though they're kind of like books that tell you to do, oh yeah, you should do this. Drink some water before you go to sleep, and then as soon as you wake up, you drink water so you can remember your dreams. Or you know what I'm saying, you do a jumping jack, then you flip over, then you know what I'm saying, drink some water, and then you be lucid in the dream. Like you got books that's telling you what to do to go to sleep so you can have some type of lucidity, like, you know what I'm saying? You could be lucid in the dream world, but some of that shit don't like it hasn't worked for me. Of course I'm being sarcastic with it, but it hasn't worked for me. Like, you know, so I'm like, I'm still tapping into what works for me because everybody's kind of like different, you know. Um, but this particular dream, I realized that shit. And I'm like, yo, I realized that I was dreaming. And so as soon as I realized I was dreaming, that couple there, I'm like, yo, are you guys real? Like, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause that shit was so funny. But it was so crazy because I could not get out of the room. Like, I couldn't get out of the room. Like, if you guys are if your thing is dreams, like my thing is, I like everything. All things dreams. I love dreams. I guess like when I was younger, that was a means for me to escape what my reality was, even though I didn't know that that's what I was doing, right? And I didn't know that there was like so many books on dreams, people conducting research, and I didn't know that that was a world that people delve into or had type of like some type of interest in. You feel me? So I didn't know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Until I got older and whatever. So typically, like with lucid dreams, I can control it and I can shift and change the scenery. I could change everything, but with this particular dream, I was not able to change it. And when that happens, I know that I'm in a different realm. Like, of course, like some people would say, like the astral realm, the astral realm is just dreams, period, right? But I think it's a particular astral realm where it's it's like happening in the now, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Where there's different uh, worlds in the dream world. I mean, it's different worlds in the astral realm. I'm gonna figure this stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Don't I'm gonna figure it out. Um, I'm gonna get to it, but I feel like when you're not able to change it, that's a huge flag. I don't want to say a red flag, like it's something dangerous or nothing like that, but it's just a flag, or it's just like alert that this is something that's happening in real time in the dream world. I don't know, like, of course you sleeping, all this stuff is you sleeping. You know what I'm saying? I'm not up hallucinating and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? None of that. This is all dreams. Everyone goes to sleep and dream, whether you remember it or not. You know what I'm saying? So, but I choose to talk about the dreams that I have, or to read books um, that are about that. So, but this particular dream, right? So, I asked him, I'm like, you guys are real, like, and I don't know what made me ask them that because I never do that. Like, whenever I immediately um realize that I'm dreaming, I always change the scenery of the dream. And I'm always doing some wild, crazy shit. Like, of course, I'm not going to say it on here, but use your imagination with that one. But you know what I'm saying? Uh, so I decided, I'm like, I asked them to. Because, before I had that realization, like, we was having like a conversation, or it was kind of like different because my bed was kind of like plain because it was set up like my old bedroom was, right? So, but the other side where they was at, it was like some plants and stuff, like where the other bed was. It was just like, it was crazy. Well, it wasn't crazy, but like crazy, crazy. It was just like the whole scenery, like, you know, how your friends come over to your house and you guys are having like a conversation in the bedroom, or you know, instead of hanging out in the living room, you guys go to the room, you know, just on some chill shit, not on no like, oh, it's about to get started, like, what I'm saying, get this party started, but like pretty much just on some, just hanging out type of shit. Um, that was the kind of like the vibe with it. But when I told them, I'm like, I don't know, in my mind, I don't know what it was. I just thought like they was travelers. Like, I don't know, like maybe I watched too many movies or something. I don't know what made me say that shit. Cause I never said that shit. Like I never did that before. Like, and I had some pretty crazy, wild, lucid dreams where it incorporated other people, but I just, you know, I never asked them like, "Yo, are you guys real?" I don't know what made me say that, but I was thinking it along the lines like they were travelers. You know what I'm saying? Like they were somewhere else, sleeping, and somehow we all met up in this dream. I don't know where that came from, but that's the take. Like at that point in time, that was not like the thought that was associated with that. But as I look back on the dream, um, I feel like the intention was like that was the underlying reason why I decided to ask them that. You feel me? Um, because I just thought that like, well, damn, maybe they somewhere else sleeping and they're travelers. Um, now that's a different like kind of like phenomenon um, that I really didn't really hear people online talking about that. Um, People traveling in the dream world and shit like that. You may see like what movie that I could say um, taps into that. I don't even know the name. I can't even name no movies to be honest, but maybe no movie really tapped into that. I don't know, but anyway, I asked them that. I'm like, are you guys real? And they looked at me and they was like, no, we're not. But then after I asked them that, like within seconds, they evaporated. They like disappeared. Like literally before my eyes, they disappeared. They literally disappeared. And that was a difference with that dream, with this that particular lucid dream that I had, I'm only gonna highlight that part because the rest of the part was just like, you feel what I'm saying? The rest of the part, I might this page on YouTube might get terminated if I start talking about the other stuff that went down. But this this particular part kind of like was highlighted for me because, like I said, normally I um I switch the dream around, and I like to fly. That's my thing. I love flying in dreams. It's just like the best feeling. Like, and the type of like cause I was binge watching True Blood. I don't know if you guys out there that like True Blood. Listen, this was my second time watching the whole series. I think I want to go back and watch season three because season three to me is like the best season in True Blood. Like it's just that season was like the best. So I recently was like watching it and I watched all of it. So if you guys have never watched True Blood is kind of like um about this about some vampires who try to like get regular rights and stuff like that, like humans, and they don't want to feed them. They making it seem like they don't want to feed off of humans no more. So they got like this synthetic blood that they kind of like drinking. So they trying to be like regular people in society type of shit, right? But of course, all that stuff is front because they still eating off the people and stuff like that. So, but is this particular character in there? His name is Eric, and you know he like whenever some like let's say if you a vampire and you give somebody your blood, give somebody your blood, then that means that you could sense when they're in pain or something like that, or when they're going through some type of emotion. So like let's say if because in the day this particular vampire group they can't go out in the daytime or they're gonna like burn and shit like that. Like they're gonna burn or they're gonna meet the true death. The true death is like that's it, you're gonna just like the true death is you just exploding pretty much, right? And they can't go out in the sun because then they'll meet the true death, they'll burn and then I guess they just will just die like that. And so the other main character in the show is Sookie, and then she falls in love with this guy named Bill Compton. He's a vampire. Like she's a fairy, so she's like she can hear people's voices and everything like that, but she can't hear vampire voices. So I think that's why she kind of like drawn to him initially for the simple fact that she can't hear him. She can hear everybody. It's a side note. No, that gotta be crazy to hear people's thoughts. Like that make me think about like psychics and people who are like tapped into like they third eyes open and shit like that. That kind of be like to me. I'm trying to forget about a lot of old shit. I ain't trying to see no crazy. Anyway, that's any besides the point. So, like whenever people are in pain or going through something, um, the vampire that gave you their blood and their blood has like kind of like super healing powers and shit like that. So if you like let's say you got in a car accident, you're about to die, if they give you their blood, not about to yeah, but if you like seriously injured, right, that would take like months for you to heal. If you even have like 2 drops of the vampire blood, that's it is a wrap. Like you are super healed. You feel me? Like you're healed. But the thing is that you're gonna start dreaming, having sexual dreams about this person. Like that's the crazy shit. Like the side effects is you could be high, you start having well in that moment, right? Because if some people on the show was getting high off of the vampire blood. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't like drink it a lot. They just took like little put a little bit of it on their tongue, and that will make them be high and sometimes access like the spiritual world. Right? You'll start to see certain things. The reason why I like season 3 is because um they tapped into like different metaphysical stuff and it was just interesting to me. And so so all right, so the whole point of me bringing that up is, right, the vampires could move mad fast. Like if you're in pain, like and it's nighttime, they could run to you super fast. Like they know where you at. They could pinpoint. Like it's just like they got an automatic GPS in them to lead them to you because you just had a little bit of their blood. You feel me? And so this particular character, Eric, he could like fly. Like he could float and shit. So like he'll be talking to you and if his progeny or like see the thing is, right, because I gotta put this out there for people who haven't seen the show. It's probably some of you out there that seen the show, whatever. Some of you guys probably haven't seen the show. If you hear this, I got my little drink. I'm drinking. So good, refreshing. I should be drinking water to be honest. I got some water here. I bought this little 12-ounce water. So boom. Um yeah, so Eric, all right, no. I was talking about the progeny, right, of them making vampires, right? So if they make a vampire, that vampire is like their child. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of like link. So the way a vampire could feel a human that drunk their blood, like literally, like if they bite themselves and they feed the blood to you that way, they could they could sense you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the people who are like taking the vampire bloods and using it like it's some type of drug or some shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Selling it like that. No, I'm talking about if they bite themselves and they feed it to you, they could sense you. Like they could sense when you're in pain, they could sense all this other stuff, right? And you be having sexual dreams and you be like, lusting after them and stuff like that. It's just like some crazy shit. And then they progeny, which is just the vampire that they make that's under them, right? They could command them to do any, like command them, like I command you not to go to that place. Like whatever they command the person that they made into a vampire do, they can't. They have to submit to that. You know the vampires that they make become their kids, or their kids pretty much, and they got to teach them how to be vampires and all this stuff, right? And so when they in danger, or when they meet the true death, their maker feels it. You know what I'm saying? They be like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, so getting back to Eric, right? So Eric, he like one time he was like somebody called him and so he had to go and he like shot up in the air. Like he literally shot up in the air. Normally what they do is like they'll run real fast to where they need to go, like whether or not it's their progeny or like someone that drunk their blood, they trying to get to them fast, right? So they'll run. You know what I'm saying? But this particular scene in the show, I don't know what episode, because when I was watching uh, an excellent um, representation of my flying dreams, how I initiate the flying. And it's just not like, oh yeah, you flying like Superman. It's like sometimes you just shooting up in the air and you're like floating and shit like that. So that's what it was. And I'm like, oh wow. Cause even one scene where um is one scene where Eric had went to see Suki. Now Suki, yeah, she was in love with Bill Compton, but something went down and was it season 3 or season 2? Let's see. I'm trying to pinpoint it because it's all messed up in my mind. But either way you put it, it was like somebody out there that was trying to kill all the vampires. You know what I'm saying? It was like this radical Christian group who felt like vampires had to die and all this stuff. And so they kind of like blew up um Eric's maker's home or the home that they was in, and they blew it up with like silver, because silver is what like, you know, holds the vampires down or kill a vampire. You could kill a vampire with like a wood to the chest, like a piece of wood to the chest. Um, them being the sunlight, and then the silver, I guess could like hold them down or something, or I don't think it kills them, but it just keeps them in a like, you know what I'm saying, keeps them restrained or some shit. So they had a bomb. Someone let off a bomb. I think it was season 2. I think this was season 2. This particular one. I don't know. Either way. So Sookie and Eric was in the yeah, it was season 2. Um no, it was season 1. Wait, hold on. I have no idea. I don't I'm gonna be lying. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what season it was. So Sookie and Eric was inside with the other vampires. And then her brother was there as well. Cause he was a part of that little Christian cult shit, but then he got out of it. Um, and Bill Compton was outside talking to his maker. Now, uh, and then the other radical Christians, they came and they blew up the place. And then Eric was kind of like laying down, and he made Sookie believe, he made her believe that he was going to die, and she had to like suck the silver bullets out of him. Meanwhile, like they self heal, like, you know what I'm saying. As long as the vampire is, feeding and getting blood, whenever they're seriously injured or shot, they could like they self heal. Like you could stab them, you could set them on fire, you could do all that stuff besides stick a wood in their chest. They're gonna like heal within like minutes or hours, they start to heal. And so Suki didn't know that, so he told her like, "Oh yeah, you gotta suck the bullets out, and all this stuff." And so when she's sucking the bullets out, she drank some of his blood, and so that's kind of what initiated the yeah, this was season 2. That's what kind of like initiated him having like a direct connection to her, where he could like, you feel me, like he could sense her fear, like wherever she's at. So it's not just Bill feeling her fear, it's it's Eric as well. He could feel her fear. And so that's how they kind of like got connected. And so she used to have like these dreams about him. And of course the dreams was like sexual in nature, because it doesn't matter whether it's same sex, opposite sex. If you drink a vampire's blood, you're gonna start having these weird, crazy, sexual ass dreams about them. And so she started having those dreams. And one particular dream, he was like floating by her window. And so that made me think about like the dreams that I have, like, with the flying dreams, it's like you're floating. Um, and like I said, when he used to like go uh to when he used to shoot up in the air, that's how that's how I fly in my dreams. Like you just automatically just shoot up in the air. But what's crazy is the multitude or the speed that he did it in the dream. I mean, did it in a TV show. It's not the multitude of speed that I have because um it'd be other, I don't want to say it's other entities that's in the dream, but I noticed that every time like I have a flying type dream, it's always somebody that's after me. Like that's so freaking weird and crazy. I like the dreams where like I'm flying and it's not associated to me trying to get away from something or a person, or and it'd be like a group of people. And I'm like, this shit is weird. It is weird, but I had to just highlight that for a minute, like in terms of how it was, how it is with the flying, because some people may feel like, oh, when you think about flying dreams, you always associate like certain characters that have those capabilities that you've seen on TV, like Superman, for instance, like the way he like goes straight, like you know what I'm saying, like as if you diving or some shit like that, like going head first and you just going like that, like you're flying the way an airplane is. But really, to me, when I have my flying dreams, it's always me shooting up in the air, like, you know, or like floating. Like you shooting up in the air, you floating, like you floating and shit like that. It's been times where I had kind of like um did a Superman like Superman going like straight forward, like head on, but that's very that's like when I'm trying to get to like direct myself in a certain place, probably. But most likely it's always shooting up, like jumping up real high. I mean, not jumping up, but just shooting up. And if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, True Blood um, is the show that you need to watch. And when you see Eric shoot up in the air, that's how it is. Exactly how it is. I'm telling you. But the speed and the multitude is sometimes what I want, but then it's not what I have because, like I said, it be some hating ass motherfuckers in the dream. Like, yo, like I just don't get it. Like, what's that all about? But I feel like yesterday my dreams was kind of like a little bit out of whack. Well, this morning because I watched a movie yesterday. Because yesterday I was supposed to do all this stuff, but I woke up late and I kind of like threw me off. And I was like, yo, time I get dressed, do my makeup, do my hair, um, it's gonna be like real. It's gonna be even later. And so I just opted out and I just kind of like stayed in the house with a few stuff, cooked, and then I watched this movie, Deliverance. Now that movie is it's an excellent movie. Like the movie is real good. So like the movie itself is good. The movie itself is a real good movie, and when it first comes on, it said inspired by true events. So going into watching this movie, I already had it in my mind, like, all right, this is something that has happened before, but I was trying to figure out the multitude of like how it happened, or like how much of this movie is real, because typically they would say like in the beginning, oh, like, yo, this is based on a true story. It didn't say that it's inspired by true events. So I'm like, okay, going into it, like, cause it's a spooky season, so I want to watch scary movies, right? But I'm talking about like Halloween scary movies. You know what I'm saying? Michael Myers. You know what I'm saying? Some gruesome killing and stuff like that. But when it comes to like the paranormal and all the ghosts, and you know what I'm saying? That shit really like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit would have you not wanting to go to sleep in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Like some adults out there that's really scared of the dark, like straight up and down, like you know. But of course I watched it because I watched what's the other movie that it makes me think about? The Animal. It's uh, it's it's another movie that has I don't know. It's Animal something. I'm about to let me see if I can put it on. The Animal Horror, I think it's called. Let me see. I gotta get it because maybe it's like the hunting house. I don't know. I'm trying to see. I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to get it. I don't know, girl. Well, I could say like that doll. You know the doll. See, now all that shit is a blink, and I can't even go on my phone to kind of like I can't even go on my phone to anime. Where the fuck I get anime from? Anime. It's that that dog. It's for I don't know what it's for. It's like that movie, the movie like where it's like a haunted house. They have so many movies that's associated with it. It reminds me of that. Like it's always like a haunted house, right? And the family lives in it. Then all of a sudden the father start acting weird. You know what I'm saying? Then he kills the whole family or shit, some shit like that. Then they had this movie about the dog. I got the dog image in my head, but I can't think of what the fuck what the movie is called. I got it all in my head, but I can't think of what it's called. Um, whatever, and I can't Google it because if I go into Google, then it's gonna shut down live. But it's kind of just like that movie with the dog. It was like this couple who, they was like people who was into like occult, and they was doing like they kind of like was like ghost chasers, or they did like exorcism and shit like that. I forgot what the couple name is, but they have a couple of movies that's out there that has them in it. And so I thought about that when I was watching this particular movie. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, this is kind of like, because when I saw the preview, because at first when it came out, I didn't like watch it. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not really into it. But then when I had one on Netflix, I had saw the trailer, and I saw that Monique was in it, and then I'm like, the trailer was kind of like okay, and then I'm like, all right, let me just watch it. It's a spooky season. Let me see it. But that movie, girl, When I tell you that's some shit that will kind of like play upon your mind after, because it's like people don't really talk. Well, no, I think it's a new phenomenon when people talking about hunting, right? But the way this movie was, it was just like a single parent who her baby father's in Iraq. She had prior addiction. I'm sorry if you guys haven't watched it, and this is a spoiler alert, right? So she has three children that she raising, and you could clearly tell like she has anger issues because she just does, and it probably stems from what she went through as a child. And then her mother, who is white, but they never really said whether or not if, because I thought she was adopted because the moms look white, and then the way I mean, the grandmoms look white, and the way the mother dresses versus the grandmother dressed like is she dressed like how the mom should be dressing. Like, they should have just swapped outfits. You know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. But clearly, the grandmom did her daughter dirty when she was young because the mother has so much anger. Like she has a lot of built up anger. But of course, like yeah, she has like alcohol issues, but she still um she still drinks. But I guess now she kind of like drank responsibly or whatever. And so weird stuff started happening with her youngest son. Like he started doing like weird stuff, like going into the basement, locking himself in the basement, then banging his head on a door, waking up, going to stand in the corner and shit. Just doing weird shit, and then like the kids would have sporadic bruises on them, and so they had like an open case with social services, and Monique, she played the character as I don't know the people names, like I don't know their names, I don't. Mm. Matter of fact, I do. The mother name was Ebony. The grandmother, I don't know her name. I forget the social Cynthia. Monique was playing Cynthia. And she was, she'd come over. Like the stipulation was for her to kind of like it was like a after it was because they had a court case, and I guess the father made some allegations that she was drinking and abusing the kids. So mom did have anger issues and stuff like that in this. But like I said, I don't know how true um this was in reference to the real life person that it happened to, because at the end of the movie they do show the woman that experienced some of these events, and they said that they showed the house looked mad creepy, like it looked like a creepy ass house. And in the title, like, because at the end they just show like sentences saying what happened, and they said that in 2016 they put a bulldozer to the house because they said after she moved out nobody else moved in there. And I'm like, that's so interesting, like no one moved in there, so it might have been like a small town they was from and everyone knew like, yo, that's a house that you don't go to or whatever happened. And so it said that they put a bulldozer to the house, so that means that they knocked down a whole house. And they said that till this day they still have strange activities and different things happening. So of course, like when you see stuff like that, like at the end, and like I didn't think that they would show like the real person that it happened to, because it said inspired by true events and it didn't say based on a true story. I don't know, maybe that's just interchangeable. But um, when I seen that, I attempted to go look up the person because they show her face, and it was like, cause let me tell you something. I started watching the movie like around 9 something, 10 something at night, No, I think it was like nine something. And then I had stopped watching it because I had got on my phone and got distracted with something. So I had kind of like put it on pause for a minute and started doing something else. And then around like two something, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, oh, maybe I should finish this movie. No matter of fact, it was like two something. I was like, no matter of fact, like was going into 2 o'clock because it was like one something in the morning. It was one something in the morning when I had that thought, but I didn't start watching until like two something. I was thinking, I was like, damn, should I watch this? But I'm like, no, you shouldn't watch this late at fucking night. You feel me? It's OD late, you know what I'm saying? And, but I still like that curiosity, that the the the, the spooky. See, it's a spooky season, so I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to watch it, but then I'm like, no, because then you gonna start having these thoughts, like your imagination plays on it. Because I was like, I don't know how this shit ended, because when I stopped watching it, the mom. All right, so what happened was in the movie, right? So let me see. Let me go back to it. Let me go back to it where I stopped at. I was like, oh shit, this shit is crazy. The mother had like I said, Cynthia, the social service person, the person Monique, who she comes to the house. So she came to the house this last time, right? Something had happened because her daughter had like a birthday party, right? All these people over and stuff like that. So the birthday party was over, and then the mom, she drank a lot of liquor at the party. And so she kind of like just fell out on the bed. But then she kept hearing this noise, like this banging noise, this crazy stuff coming from the kids' room. Now, all the kids are in the bed, but then they kept looking at the damn closet. And so all you kept hearing was like this banging sound, boom, boom. And the mom's just like, it wakes her up and she's screaming, like, y'all better go to bed. Like, shit like that. And so she ordered, like, she gets up and she goes in the room, but you don't even know what the fuck happens because first of all, the grandmom is like some old, like, she giving off of, like, I don't want to like stereotype people, but she like a cougar or some shit like that. 'Cause she always got like a young dude or whatever. That's what it appears to be because she was with the dude, like, oh, they got the guy Omar Epps who's playing like her boyfriend or somebody, because she met him in like the where she get like cancer treatment from. But she like, she got a boy head, but she be wearing some nice wigs, the makeup, and dressing like not how a grandma should be dressing. Like she dressed like how the mom should be dressing. So she was downstairs telling her man, like, kissing him, he leaving or whatever, right? So she hear all this commotion upstairs. She go upstairs and she opened the door and the mom's is just crying and the whole wall like it has holes in it. And so the mom really don't know what the hell happened. And the kids is like, oh yeah, she threw us on a wall and all this crazy stuff. But they never show that part. And so the kids is like huddle up like in a corner together. And so um then what else happened? Then like I guess the social service person came to the house. The Monique had came to the house like the next day, and she like, oh, I need to see the kids and all this stuff. And then the mom is trying to explain to her like all the strange shit that's happening, like he's talking to people in the closet and all this stuff. And so she didn't want her to see the kids because she knew that they had bruises and shit on them, right? Because that same night at the party, the boy had went into the basement and then he was like banging his head. He had this big bruise on his forehead from banging his head on the wall. And I'm banging his head on the door. And he told the he told the mom that what is it? Oh yeah, he told the moms about the boy Trey. He was like, yeah, sometimes Trey's down. She was like, what you doing down there? And he was like, well, I was talking to Trey, and she was like, Trey lives in the hole, and then sometimes he lives in my closet. You know what I'm saying? And so the next day, when the caseworker, the social service worker came out or whatever, she wanted to see the kids, and the moms was just trying to tell her what was going on, but of course she didn't believe her. She was, you know what I'm saying, she thinks she abusing her kids and doing all this crazy shit to them. And the grandmother come down, she didn't even have her wig on, no makeup, none of that shit. She came down with a bat like, bitch, you gotta go. She said, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? She came down with the bat. She was like, you got to go. You got to go. And so when she went out the door, they saw this other woman who was like, in a car, and she like looking at this woman like they think that she from like children's services and all that shit. So that's what they think she from, but really she was like a pastor or a preacher, somebody who did uh who did a exorcism on a previous boy that lived in the house, and so somehow they connected, and well, actually, yeah, somehow, like, oh yeah, matter of fact, the mom, to cope with that, the mom had went to a bar and she started drinking and shit, and then the grandmoms went to church, right? So that's how they coping mechanisms is different, right? So the grandmoms went to church, talked to the pastor. The pastor like, yo, I can't help you with that. We don't specialize in that. Like, you got to go somewhere else. But of course, the mom went to the bar. You know what I'm saying? It was talking to the dudes there. Ooh, that Candy Express felt good. I haven't had Candy Express in a minute. But this little commercial on the TV looked delicious. Mm. That's crazy because I got the teriyaki sauce in the in the cabinet, and I got some chicken thighs. You know what I mean? Maybe I could just make some of that shit. But anyway, so the mom talks to the woman who was, oh yeah, so the woman, like, she was in a bar, but when she was leaving the bar, the woman who was posted up out of her house, outside of her house in the car, that she thought from children's services was there. That she thought from children's services was there, but she wasn't from children's services. She was like, yeah, um, she told her about the previous family that lived in her house, and how they was dealing with some type of possession, and the youngest child had got like possessed by a spirit and all this stuff. And then of course the mom don't believe it and shit like that. The um she told her everything that went on. Then she talked about the little boy who was possessed, and the previous owners of the home, I mean the previous tenants of the home. And she was like, yeah, his name was Trey. And then the mom was like, well, Trey is the boy that my son's imaginary friend that he sees and all this shit. But then of course the mom still didn't believe the woman and stuff. Then they had all this stuff go on. I'm not gonna go I'm not gonna go too much deep into it, but it's definitely based on, inspired by a true story. I don't know how much of it is true. I attempted to kind of look up the real woman's testimony as to what she went through, but I was just creeped out though, to be honest. Like, I started watching the YouTube video, um, but then I just cut it off. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to watch this. Because it starts to like um, play on your mind a bit. Like, you know, I'm looking to be scared for like spooky season, but as far as the formulation of certain entities or thought forms, like when within your mind, like your imagination starts to play with you and shit like that, I ain't got time for none of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? No, no shade. I'm not trying to take away from anybody's testimony or stories and stuff like that. But I'm like, I seen the movie. The movie was good, and then I just felt like, I wanted to look it up because I'm like, okay, I guess that was the people's intention, when they put the information at the end so that people could go and kind of like hear what really happened. But I'm like, I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood to watch it. I wasn't. I was like, I just changed my mind because I'm like, it's already like, how certain movies kind of like make you think, or well, all movies is supposed to really do that. Like when you watch a movie, it's supposed to instill certain feelings in you. That's why when people watch movies, they start crying and they start just feeling bad and all this shit. Like especially when there's a sad story. I remember this movie called Losing Isaiah, and um, the mom was like a crackhead, and she gave birth to the child, and then she left him in a dumpster. um, the child was found by like the sanitation workers, like um, and was taken to the hospital. When the nurse, she felt like so much compassion, and she like adopted the child, and then she raised him, and like she was raising him, and and got this like and loved him as her own child. And I think he was probably like 3 or 5. He was young. I don't know the age that he was. And meanwhile, the mother, she was in a recovering program. The biological mother was in a recovering program, trying to get her life together, and they was teaching her how to read and shit. And she was trying to read a book, but the book was making her think about the child that she, left at the dumpster. And so, she eventually told her caseworker or whoever that woman was of what happened with the child, and then they did all this stuff to try and find out where the child was. You know what I'm saying? And then um, the biological mom wanted her child back. You feel me? Like she was just like, I need to have I want my child back. Um, and so she went through the court system and all that stuff, and then the judge felt like the child needed to be with his biological mom. But meanwhile, the child Isaiah has this attachment to his adoptive mom because she's the one who raised him. And so like that whole movie right there is like an emotional, like, if you like, what I'm saying, when you watch your movies and you get like really deep into it pulls you in emotionally. It just does something. It just really does something. And if you're not like aware of that, like you could be pulled in, and it makes you almost feel like the shit is happening to you. You feel what I'm saying? And it makes you, it pulls at the heartstring. Now, as far as these scary ass movies go, like I said, night and day, I could watch people get their limbs cut off, chop off their heads, all that Michael Myers shit. You know what I'm saying? Jason. I say Jason. What movies? Yeah, it's called the Friday the 13th. What's crazy is yesterday was the Friday the 13th. So like with Friday the 13th, you know what I'm saying? Saw, all that, stuff where people getting chopped up and shit. I can watch that shit all day. And I won't feel like nobody coming in the house, none of that shit. But that shit when it comes to like that's that, what I'm saying, ghost and spirit shit, that's some whole other shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not trying to get get so caught up and consumed in a movie, you cut that shit off. You gotta cut off the light and go to bed. And every little sound you think is, you know what I'm saying? You think you see something on the corner of your eye, be all scared and shit. Got the blanket over your head, sweating and stuff. I ain't got time for that. So I was like, I don't listen. I ain't no ghost hunters over here. So I was like, I ain't watching that shit. Like, and then it was kind of like the YouTube that they had was kind of like spooky in a way because they saying all this shit at the beginning of the video. I'm like, it's not that deep. And the only thing I hear is that I heard this white man, I don't know if he white or light skinned or whatever. He was saying like how it was like shadowy figures, that they would see shadowy figures and the woman was like, yeah, she lived in a house. They would hear dogs barking, but it was no dogs. They would hear dogs barking from the basement, and then she would start to see flies. Um, at a time when there wasn't supposed to be flies. So I kind of like ended it right there. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that, son. Like, I was like, I'm good. Because it's like you start creating these thought forms and entities in your mind based off of someone else's experience or based off of fear. And it's just like, and then I like to read the comments and people was like, oh, this one particular person was like, yeah, that's why I don't. That's why when I buy a house, or when I get a house, I'm gonna build my house on land that I know. I'm gonna build my own house. People started saying like, oh, they won't live in a house, but my thing is like all this land, like it's nothing new under the sun. It's nothing new under the sun. New land is old land. It's someone's. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like it makes you like these kind of movies or other people's testimonies and shit like that, right? Will kind of make you feel fearful to kind of like live your life and live and go live in a house. If you want to live in a house that been there for like 100 years, go ahead. Like what? Why would you let a movie or somebody else's testimony? Uh-oh, shit. Hold on. Hello. Let me see. I think I cut it off for a minute. So like, why would you let somebody else's testimony? I hope you guys could have heard me because my microphone um, shut off for a hot second because I think I pressed it, the button or whatever. So it's just like, why would you let somebody else's testimony or somebody else's experiences cloud your shit, like for what you want to do, like, and just that fear aspect. See, that's the thing. Like, it's like it's the spooky season, so of course you want to be like, oh, watch scary shit, and if hauntings and stuff like that is your thing. That's just like people out there who just love it so much, like that adrenaline, that fear. They go to like abandoned like buildings and shit, or abandoned hospitals and abandoned mansions, abandoned land, and just go see if they could sense any paranormal activity, but you could always tap into paranormal activity, like that in between sleep state. Like if you know how to get into that in between sleep state and know how to astral project out, you gonna see some shit. You are going to see some shit. You are going to experience it. Now, it made me think about like when I was a child. When I was a child, I used to have a lot of the paranormal activities and shit like that. Like that was just like the norm. Like, but at the time, I didn't know. Like, I remember one time my mom, I think she just started working overnight, or maybe she was hanging out. I don't know. But she told us she was going to work. And me and my brother, we kind of like shared the room. And so I was laying down on a bed, mind you. I was not asleep, I was up. And I go to look at the damn door. I see this woman and this man who was holding his own head standing at the freaking door. Like literally standing in the doorway. In the doorway. I would never forget it. I had to be like 5, 6. I was really young. And that shit scared the shit out of me. And my brother, he was knocked out like he was asleep. He was knocked out. He was just like he was knocked out. And so, yo, I got up and I'm like, I gotta get to my grandma's because my grandma was in the first bedroom by the front door with my cousin. And I'm like, yo, oh shit. My microphone. It's something wrong with my microphone, so I don't know. Damn. Maybe it's not for me to talk about this stuff, right? So I don't know if my microphone kind of like died. Yeah, my microphone died, so I'm gonna end this because I don't even know if you guys can hear me. So I'm gonna end it now. I'm gonna come back with the story. All right, peace.